Welcome, welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. And we must apologize for being absent for the last 2 days. A lot of circumstances beyond our control. We're very sorry. And we're back with you today. And you can pick up, we'll make maximum use of it today. We'll try to take all your calls as quickly as we could and your suggestions and posting. We're on RealFM 91.9, 91.5. We're on We Noise FM in Brooklyn. So our brothers in the diaspora who could pick up 94.9 in New York, we're there. We're on Facebook and YouTube. And we encourage you to put us anywhere you want. Share us. We are willing to be shared. Like us, share us, and subscribe to RealFM. We will start off by expressing our gratitude and thanks to the Minister Dennis Cornwall. We've been calling on him to intervene in McDonald College. The school system come back to normalcy. One young boy came to me. He said, Mr. Pierre, everything is all right now. He was very happy. And he told me in the latter days, they improved the haste that he was working with. So I'm very happy, Mr. Cornwall. Thank you. We'll call on you again in the future. I strongly believe that you are one of the hope in the National Democratic Congress. A stout public officer. You have reached the level academically that you can hold any post in the financial arena. In addition to that, you know what it is to be poor. And you know what it means to be attending school and have a disrupted class. So once again, I thank you for your intervention. Thank you, my brother. Our old principal must be in purgatory now and smiling, saying, good, good, good. Yeah, he was very unhappy, but I think he must be smiling now. You see, at least old Dennis Cornwall heard me. He heard me. Old Dennis Cornwall and old man Pierre, they hear eventually. So I'm very happy. I'll have to take a drink on that. I want to appeal to Mr. Lennox Andrew. As the Minister of Agriculture, there is a sister that is crying out, Deborah Charles. Her land had been taken away from her by the parliamentary representative for St. Andrews Northwest and the minister responsible for mental health. Great injustice has been done to that sister. That sister went to the post office, went to the Inland Revenue, went to the Government Lands and Survey, went to the Ministry of Agriculture, then she went to a lawyer. And she paid $250 to see the lawyer. Because lawyers, some lawyers have their fee on the door. You have to pay to go and see pictures. You have to pay to go in the movie. You pay to go in dance. You pay to go on a show. But in Grader, you have to pay to see lawyer. And the lawyer, after listening to her attentively, he encouraged her to go to the minister. That is when she found out that the minister that did that to her, she sat on the same school bench with her. And she asked the question, how could you do that to me? How could you do that to me? You and I sat on the same school bench. And I'm absolutely certain that they were the two poorest in the class. Because that place where you have the school, we have some big guns there. Some big guns. So they would have been the two poorest in the class. And she couldn't understand how my schoolmate could do that to me. The minister then told her, I did not realize it was you. She sat on the school bench with Deborah Charles. But then she said, I did not know if it was you. The woman paid the surveyor for the land. And she was making payments periodically. I think she believed, I'm not absolutely certain, I believe she received the letter to rescind or take back the land in August. But she paid in the very month in August. You see, she moved from Maribor because you have this domestic and social problem. So she had to run. But while she ran, she continued to pay for her land. They take back the land from her and give somebody else. And the minister promised she will give her another piece of land. And the sister agreed. And up to today, the minister seems to disown her. So I'm appealing to you, Lennox Andrew, as an old public officer, as a man who comes from the proletariat, a man whose parents was poor like church mice. I have to remind you all, now that you all have elevated yourself to a new social class, I have to remind you where you come out. This sister's family was involved in the Great Fire, when 3 members of her family lost their life. Some of her documents was lost there too. But she brought enough documents that she had to show she had the receipt for this paying the surveyor. And she had several receipts where she paid government for the land. Her money was not given back to her. Great injustice was done to this sister. And she paid to see the lawyer, but the lawyer realized this case ain't going anywhere. It don't make sense fighting for her. She don't have money to pay me. She don't have $8, $10, $15,000 to give me. So she's left in the rain. So I cry. I cry out for her. I've tried to reach the parliamentary representative on many occasions. But I guess she's in a new social class. So I'm appealing to you, my brother, Lennox Andrew, as a good public officer and as an old member of the proletariat and as a man who's supposed to have some socialist blood in you, please hear the cry of Deborah Charles. The number to call is 4420175. I always try to remind you that when Jesus was on the cross and the women of Jerusalem was mourning for him. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. You have to avoid listening to your radio when you call. Otherwise, you will have a delayed broadcast. You there, caller?
Yeah. You get me better?
Yeah. Go right ahead.
Better now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say happy anniversary to RealFM and to Angie Donald and the crew. We hope you all have a good day and enjoy. Mr. Pierre, I've been listening to you for the last couple of, months and probably to say a year and some. And, you know, you've been crying out and been bringing the facts to us in layman's terms, in easy terms, and you're still calling out to the politicians that you deem as savable in. And you know, there are others who are bringing down the same politicians from inside their own party and they don't realize that is what they do. Because you are a farmer. Not so, Mr. Pierre?
Yes, man.
And have you gotten any of this $4,500 that they're talking about so far?
I learned that government money is sure, but it does take long. So I guess he will take long with me too.
Okay. He will take a while for you.
He will take a while for me.
But you're hearing of people that you know support that party, that government. They're laughing, they're enjoying it. Yeah. I'm not hearing about a house yet that built back in Karakou. You're hearing people getting tanks and carry 1,000 gallons. And when you investigate who getting these tanks is known loyalists to the government NDC. And tell me if that is fair.
But remember, the government have a policy of restorative justice. We have ignored the impact and the consequences of a policy like that. From day one, I've been crying it down. But that is the policy of the government. Drummers food, family force. NDC time.
Mr. Pierre, the government of the day, when they were in the party in waiting, opposition party, they accused NNP of doing tokenism, giving handouts, giving free money.
They say when a man high saying any damn thing. And you heard the minister say
so look
that.
what is happening now. Mr. Pierre, what is happening right now is far, 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 far worse than whatever is happening on the NNP. And I don't know how these people not seeing it. And lastly, I will make this point. We seem to have a culture of play victim when things not in our favor. People can call people all sorts of names. Up to this morning they're doing it. But when they are called upon and they are called out, they want to sue. I hope you remember when you all digging your grave, dig about 5 because 5 of you all are going. Stop the nonsense because Mr. Pierre, I heard somebody say that they were responsible for getting ads off a certain radio station, right? The last time I checked, a radio station have staff. And if I'm a staff in a radio station and I'm hearing somebody saying that they are the person that be responsible for getting ads off the station and for me not getting paid, guess who I'm going after? Mr. Pierre, I'm going after you.
Yeah, you see, so I always deal with the policies of government. I always deal with the policies of government. You don't hear me going after individual politicians much. Because when a government have a policy, the policy have its influence, whether it's good or bad. So if you disagree with the policy of a government, you should say that. And from day one, I've been going after the policy of the NDC. The policy is a vindictive one. Restorative justice. There is no need. There was absolutely no need for a policy like that. The only time in our history you could have justified a policy of restorative justice was after the disaster, the 4.5 years disaster of Maurice Bishop. Over 3,000 people, Maurice Bishop signed the order for over 3,000 people to go to jail. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, ma'am.
I missed your program for the couple of
Yes,
days.
sorry,
I was wondering if sickness did we take you.
Yeah.
But
we had a death
so welcome
on one situation that staff went to the funeral. Okay. Somebody from the radio station. In another station, in another situation, I had some serious challenges.
No problem. I don't want to know the challenges. That's yes. So the point, the discussion, what I want to have out today is on Monday, I received a call from a friend. And we were speaking, and in that conversation, that friend told me young people that was working in various ministries and stuff like that, they was called upon and they was threatened and telling them if they go to any NNP function, don't bother come back. Oh, I see you in some NNP zonal meeting. So you're going any NNP function, don't bother show up to work. Mr. Pierre, I wondering what Grenada coming to. I am wondering if we are going back to the stage of 1979 to 83, where Bishop withhold the Constitution and start to shove draconian laws and draconian treatment down the Grenadians' throat. So if I don't support you, I'm not supposed to support no other. So I'm supposed to force to support you. I wonder, where is the democracy? Where is the trade union? Where is the NGO to speak up? Because if it was under the NNP, you would hear all people, all different people in different positions in societies, with speaking out publicly, beating the government about this thing. Mr. Pierre, since after 84, this thing never happened. Where are we going? Where are we going? So are you want to force to take away democracy out of we the Grenadian people? So we're not supposed to support that political party, but we should support that political party. And that is not right. People have their right. The Constitution says clear that even though I'm working in a government position, I have every right to go in any political function I want to go to. What I'm not supposed to do is not to wear the political t-shirt once I'm working in government society. Right? But I know for a fact NDC supporters who working in the ministry, going in convention, going in general council, going in the functional meetings with the political yellow t-shirts and the handbands and all that kind of a thing. Why they weren't the one? Because the government is in power, are supporting NDC and they are in power, so everything is okay Sunday. So I supporting NNP now. Are those supposed to go in NNP function? I ain't supposed to go in NNP. Where we going? So where is our choice? Where is our decision to make in whatever choice that comes into my mind? If I choose to be a Rastaman, I choose to be a Rastaman. I choose to be a Muslim, I choose to be a Muslim. I choose to be a Catholic or Adventist or Pentecostal. That is my decision to make. That is my constitutional right. And I'm calling the government. And I'm calling other people to do so too. To stand up with the young people in the ministries. To stand in solidarity with these young people. And let us call on the government to stop victimizing the workers. Stop victimizing the workers. Instead of you victimizing your workers, do your work what you're supposed to do. You say you get to bridge for Grenada for the River Road project. To know the River Road project, which can go up. You only have to flood. Do your work. Fund NAGMA. You say NAGMA is a statutory body. Fund them. Give them the suspension. Give them the money. Give NAGMA the money. And do your work instead of you victimizing the people. Only flying like a ligao. Have a good evening, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, scholar. You have heard me repeatedly on my program asking young people and people who work with government in particular not to call my program. I've been saying that from day one. Don't call. If by calling the program your job would be at stake, don't call. Use your head. Don't, I would say to them, don't attend NNP political meetings. Simple. Because the reality is you have a government that have a policy of restorative justice. You have a government that is promoting classism. You have a government that considers some people as greedy and needy and beggy and commoners. You have a government, the mouthpiece is advocating to close down radio station and jail people. If you know you're depending on government job, don't publicly associate with the opposition. Stay quiet. Remember how to make your X. But don't go and lose your job for that. We could sit down and discuss right or wrong till Christ come. The reality is you could lose your job. You hear me shout out repeatedly that MIT has been set up for political mischief. That mobilization in MIT is for political mischief, to identify people in the community for political justice. You now start to see the impact. And I've not heard the NNP from day one asking the government to disband MIT. The government took $15 million for housing and give it to MIT. That is to empower them for political mischief. You may not like it, but there is not much you could do. And yes, we have democracy in the country. You have freedom of expression. You have the right to vote for who you want. But doing that, you also have a government that have a policy of restorative justice. And the government won election fair and square. This is a time for education. For you to understand, there is a lot of Grenadians that support classism. My greatest fear is when classism hit the school. When our teachers start to believe they're in a different social class. And it's easy for them to do it, Because I always say they are the most educated people in Grenada. Teachers. They have a lot of power. They have a lot of influence. They would have taught some of the lawyers in town. They would have taught some of the doctors, some of the politicians. So the teachers as a collective have a lot of sway. And if they believe they're in a different social class from the ordinary man, then crapo smoke with pipe without tobacco. You have heard me spoke extensively on the low productivity in school. You have heard the teachers say it's not them, it's parents. You have heard some parents say, well, we can't make blood out of stone. We're sending the children in school. What you want us to do? They say help them with the homework. The parents say we don't know what the children doing. We can't do the work. What we knew yesterday is different. I appeal to parents to be hungry for education. And there are a number of things you could do to give your children the competitive edge. And I'd like to ask the question, at what stage your child should determine what is good and important for their development? At what stage your child should determine what is good and important for their development? Yes, caller, welcome.
Good evening or good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
I got a couple of points I'd like to make very briefly. Now, on two subjects. Number one, you said a few weeks ago about the brain drain of young people going to join the army in the UK. I have to disagree with you on that particular point. Because as you're contradicting yourself, because why are they staying in Grenada? Employment opportunities are limited. You're not allowed to go to a political meeting of your choice. So what is the need for you to stay in Grenada when you can go abroad, earn a living, and help your family in Grenada? Lots of the young men who come to join the British Army, some of them have never seen combat, they've never gone to fight. The majority are drivers, clerks, and nurses. They're learning skills that is transferable if they do decide to go back to the Caribbean. So I like your opinion on what I've just said.
It's an interesting topic that I would perhaps one time spend a whole session on. But I'm somebody who don't care about reparation. For many years since I was in school, I took issue with it because I believe the black man sold us in slavery. In addition to that, now we in Grenada here, we must encourage or discourage our children from going away in the British Army and otherwise. Why? Our population have not risen in any significant way in the last 100 years. And now, what is going on, I don't think we have a sustainable population. Those who are going are the cream of the crop. You're talking about you 18 to 30-year-old. That is the cream of the crop of every country. You 18 to you 30-year-old. And they are going away. So while you're asking for reparation from England, you sending your cream of your crop to England. You're sending you well-qualified nurses. Our nurses go around 35. Well-qualified. Some of them have a child or two. They leave the child or two in Grenada and go away. And by the time
Mr. Pierre, it has always been like that.
Yes, and that's
My parents traveled and left me in Grenada, and many American people left to go abroad. Opportunities arose because they didn't in Grenada. You cannot compare salary of a nurse in Grenada to what they can earn in this country and send back home and help somebody else and so decide. I agree with you. I don't believe in reparation. I totally detest the idea of reparation. And I agree with you that we, our own people, slaved in slavery. But some people, they have no choice. You can't stay and just work land and do construction. There's nothing else there. What do you
yes.
get into?
I believe in immigration. But I'm saying it seems as though it is the policy, the unwritten policy of the government to encourage our people to go away. Then I'm saying if you're doing that, send people who could go away, could make money. So let us have an education system that our children that lives will be very talented and they will be able to hold high end of the job in London and otherwise. Not just going in regular army. And the individuals who are going, they don't even meet the minimum requirement in Grenada to be competitive on the job market. So individuals who reach the minimum requirement, they easily get scholarships. Whether it is Germany, America, England, Russia, China, South America. Most of the individuals who go into the British Army and otherwise, they don't have the minimum qualification to get a job. So even when they reach in the army in England, they are not, some of them are not going through to make it a profession. They go for a little while. And then when they come out back, what skills they have. You see?
Well, it depends on the individual, Mr. Pitt.
Yes.
There are opportunities for them. You have to push yourself. You can go into the army as a private in the infantry division, but there are opportunities to change your trade and get a qualification. I myself have signed lots and lots of young men to join the services. I have a couple from Parental. I have one young lady from Parental who is a commander, is risen through the ranks. There's other guys who have they come up and wanted the opportunity by messing around and not staying in the army as long as they should because they need their friends on one line. But there are lots and lots of us who have done well and are helping their family back in Canada. I think
the number of success story we have might be less than 10%.
In life, you get winners.
Right?
I might agree with you in less than 10%.
And that worries me. If it was 50%,
Situation.
if it's less than 10%, it worries me. If it was more than 50%, I would have said, okay, justify.
I agree with you, Mr. Pierre. A lot of these young people, some of them have got problems in Grenada. They have to run from problems in Grenada. So they come up to the UK and they get the opportunity to join the army. Rather than going around selling drugs on the street, you get an occupation where you can get a place to stay, you can get a decent salary, you can leave. Not many guys have gone into combat. I can name 15 Canadians who've actually gone into combat in first and second wars in Iraq. Most go into the RLC, which is the logistics corps, where most of them are drivers or learning engineering. So
Yeah.
we'll beg to do.
We'll have that discussion again. Anytime you're down here, we will join a program with you on that.
Not a problem. I'm
Yeah.
waiting.
Yes.
Sometime in April, we'll come and we'll go discuss that thing.
Yes, my brother. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes. This topic need a lot of discussion. My position on it might sound very harsh and very radical. If I had a child that want to go to the British Army, I'll insure your life. Say, if you're dead, I get in some money. I'll take out a big insurance. If you're dead, I get some money. Because normally I would not encourage my child to go away. I don't even encourage my children to go away. Yes, go on holiday, go and study. But I believe you can make it comfortably here and you could go on holidays or whatever the case may be. And you can invest in our country. And that's where we come back to our school system. We must discuss the issue in schools. And I ask the question, at what stage in your child should determine that they're capable of making decisions for their own development? It's not at the stage at 6 months. At 6 months, you're nursing your child. You have to give the child everything, 100% attention. At 5 years, don't tell me your child could determine what they want to do. They might walk around by the neighborhood because you trust the neighborhood and the neighbor's eyes is on them. They might go in the shop and buy something and everybody in the shop know them and help them at the age of 5. Our children enter secondary school at 10. Do you satisfy at that stage that child could make decision about their development? Would you supervise and dictate what clothes the child wear? Where the child go? Your 10-year-old child could tell you, Mommy, I'm going to dance tonight. Mommy, I want a hot pants. Or your 10-year-old girl, or let's say your 13-year-old girl. She reached the stage of puberty, hormones jumping up in her body. She biologically ready, but she's 13 years. The decision to do what she wants, does it rest with her? The subjects your 13-year-old does in school, who should determine what subject your child do in school? They go to school at 10 now, it's 10 or 11 or 12, I don't know. So by the time they're 13, they may be in Form 2 or 3. Does your child qualify to determine what subject they want to do? Or as a parent, you want to give your child a basic education that when they're able to make decision on what they want to do, they're on a good platform, a good springboard to take off. Do your child in Form 1 say, Mommy, I don't want to do maths. I don't like maths. Do you parents accept that? So the child is doing maths. You have some Form children in Form 3, and I think that is the stage, I don't know, that is when they choose the subject they want to do. But you as a parent must be able to determine what are the basic subjects your child must do. Because there are some subjects that carry more weight than others. Throughout life. Throughout life. You have your son, 6 feet strong, etc. Looking thing. The boy come and tell you doing home management. And F&N. And T and C. Or C and T or what? You crazy? You're 13 years old, you're in Form 3, or you're 14? And I must pay the bill? Well, those who pays the piper call the tune. And parents have to ask themselves this question. Is my 13 or 14-year-old child that not paying any bills is in a good position to determine take their own decision about their own development? I see some children the parents dressing them as hookers. As the people you meet on 42nd Street, a Young Street, a Tiger Bay, I know those streets. I like to go there. 12 o'clock in the night, someone in the street, if you go 9 o'clock, you good too. You go there for pick up. There are people solely sitting on the street. They dress to attract. Some of our parents dressing their children like hookers. Don't believe those men and them, don't tell you nothing. They can't say nothing. They say anything, you say, my body is mine, I could do what I want. But you're dressing your child as a hooker. And if you dress your child as a hooker, then those people around might believe she is a hooker, so they're going to start to shower her with compliments. And remember, men are hunters, and there is no depth. We would not go in our pocket for what we want. No depth. We have to face the reality. At what stage, at what age, a child must determine that I could determine my own development. While you parents pay the bill, this thing is a joke. Or the parents are paying the bill. But you don't care what subject your child are doing. The subjects your children are doing in school, are these subjects the most competitive for the job market? Ask yourself that. The subjects your son and your daughter doing in school, and I understand it's Form 3, they select subjects. Are these subjects the most competitive for the job market? Subjects have weight. Does mathematics weigh more than F&N? Does physics weigh more than C and T? Or T and C or what? These subjects have weight. So the parents providing the money for the children to do lightweight subjects. Your son tell you doing agriculture science, he tying all the sheep under the house. The boy ain't don't get tricked. The whole yard full of bush. Not a flowers in the garden. Your son say they're doing agriculture science. They're lying. They give your son a lightweight subject because they believe it dunce. They don't use the word dunce in school anymore. They get sophisticated. They use more palatable words. So they say he's slow. He's not academically inclined. That sounds scientific. He don't. So they tell him do F and N, H and M, C and T, agriculture science. Your child have to do the science, biology, physics, chemistry, mathematics, English language, French and Spanish, music. These subjects have weight. Latin America have 500 million people. Grenada have 100,000. You stupid here, what? Latin America have 500 million people. And Grenada have 100,000. Puerto Rico is Spanish. Cuba. Everybody is revolutionary. La lucha continuada. So you don't know your child have to do Spanish. Your child have to do Spanish in school. What is F and N? What are you doing F and N for? What you doing T and D or C and T for? Big hardback man with long balls doing H and what? Home H and M. What you doing that for? What you doing that for? These subjects don't have weight. You do that for bragging rights. So after you do your 8 subjects, then your child free to add 20 more for bragging rights. But the 8 subjects I believe that have the most weight, that is, will make your child more competitive on the job market, are the science subjects: mathematics, English language, biology, French and chemistry, biology, physics and chemistry, Spanish and French, and music. If your child could ram in music, that is good. You're not teaching music in school. So parents, you only sit down there. That's why I believe if pastors now should have called on women of Grenada, mourn for your children, particularly your boys. Christ tell them women mourn for themselves, but women aren't. You don't have to mourn for women now. Women good. Anybody have to mourn for his men. So you call on the women to mourn for your children, particularly the boys. They have been chaffed in school. They have been left out. They've fallen through the academic sieve. And then you have a government now to compound insult with injury. We have a government that don't make sense. The government don't make sense. The government propagating classism. They see people as commoners and beggy. The government full of secrecy. That is the environment now that your child is growing up under. So you have to take stock. It don't make sense. You have some women, nice, they're looking good. You're nice as God. Your bumper looking well, everything nice about you. But your child don't have sense. Your child is going to school and your child are likely to fail. Your child is ill-disciplined. They're cursing more than Dick Mitchell. They will not be as lucky as Dick Mitchell because Dick is a liar. They're going to end up in the police hand. They will not be able to get a police good record. To go now to get a security work with government, you have to have a police record. Some of our children have running afoul of the law while they're in school. And the parents laughing, hee. Mediocrity is the order of the day in Grenada. So women of Grenada, bang your belly and get hungry for education. And if you pay the bill, you must call the tune. And you notice I'm not blaming men. Because 60% of the household are led by men, are led by women. 60% of the household are led by women. And even where the man leading, some of the man can squeak. They domesticate him. They can squeak. So women, you are responsible. He's going to come back to haunt you. When your son come afoul of the law, is a woman magistrate going to him. And by that time, sometimes she don't want to see man. Because she already divorced, she don't like man. She will send your son in jail. We have to face reality in this country. And the boy ill-disciplined, cussing magistrate. Since the magistrate look at him, she say, I look at him, the demeanor. Jail in that. And the school is a factory for producing ill-discipline, antisocial behavior, delinquents, disrespectful young men and women. The cussing win. Women of Grenada, hear ye me. Pay some attention to your children. Ask yourself, the age my daughter is in now, and how she looking there, could she make her own decisions for her development? Yes, she gonna tell you yes, because hormones jumping up in her body. She not doing chores home. She not doing work home. Is she ill-disciplined in the house? You don't expect her to ill-disciplined in the school. If your son is ill-disciplined in the home, ill-disciplined in the neighbor, it's 10 times worse in the school. Always multiply by 10. What go on in your present, multiplied by 10. If your child is not doing chores in the house, you have to call them repeatedly for them to do it. And they're disrespectful to you, they're 10 times worse in the school. And the teachers say, I can't make it to you. And most of the teachers in the school, they're looking small and they dress up nice. And you hardly have men in the schoolhouse. Some schools have men, they look like women. So, you're not too surprised when your child is not doing well. When your child becomes foul of the law, you want to blame police. What police what? You look at the police, they mash up all the head. They're ill-disciplined in the house. They're disrespectful in the community. They're 10 times worse in the public. So it's in this background we have to beg. Do you see the schoolhouse is like a factory that produces individuals? The quality of our men and women tomorrow are produced in the schoolhouse. The parents have a responsibility to do the best. But it's the schoolhouse that produces these individuals. Our children go to school for 13 and a half years. And they are expected to exit secondary school at 16. At 16, the age of consent clipping. So by the time your daughter leaves school, time for she qualify to have a man, have children, and make children and marry. By the time she leaves school, she don't have to have permission to have sex. You see, from 13 and a half years, the government have individuals that reach out to children between 6 months and 2.5 years to help store their brain to think. Then the child go to school from 2.5 to 16. So for 13 and a half years, your child in school. At the age of 16 is the age of consent. Now, when the child is 16, they may go to National College. They may go to St. George's University. They may go to get a work. They may go in the sex trade. They may go and gamble. They may climb a tree and sit down and relax. The parents who have discretionary income will provide money for the children between 16 and 18. And the parents might force them to go to school. So, what we do is to prepare our children to reach the age of 16. At what stage, at what age, your child is qualified to make their own decisions about the development. And if they make it their own decision, that's why they own money too. You parents have an obligation. You have a legal responsibility to your child while they go to school. The government now extend it to 18. You have a legal responsibility. So you should have a say what subjects you're doing. The child must do subjects in school that give them the competitive edge. There are some lightweight subjects like F&N and T&C and H&M and agriculture science and principle of business and principle of economics. Principle of economics. Right? Principles. But the subjects that have weight in schools are mathematics, English language, biology, chemistry, physics, French and Spanish, music. You have human and social biology, you have integrated science, computer science. I forgot that one. I forgot this one about computer. You see, when you come from the old school, you don't know nothing about computer. But computer science is a very important thing. I don't know what other names they have for it. Your children must know about the computer. So these are the subjects with weight. The other subject is bragging rights. All Grenadians are supposed to be able to cook food. These people and them going in school 2.5 years, 3 years, they say they're cooking. When they come out, you ask them to make a alone, they can't make it. Make a metemg, they can't make it. Cook on some pea soup, they can't make it. Make some coconut warp, they can't do it. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good day, sir.
Yes, my brother. Good day. Good to hear you, man.
Well, I know it's the ending, but I'm just trying out my radio, you know.
That is very good. Long time I hear you, man.
And what I have to say, your program is coming to a close, so I'll do it for next week.
All right, so you got to open back on Monday.
But what I'm saying quickly, I realize the farmers is balling and the Minister of Agriculture is hiding. So we want to know what's really going on because he's not answering to the call of the farmers. This is very, very interesting right now. But I have what to say when...
Yes, so we're going to just stay with that one point. Yes, thank you. I agree with the caller. The Minister of Agriculture is hiding. The Nutmeg Board is hiding. The Cocoa Board is hiding. The government have to have a policy on agriculture. They have to tell the farmers what's going on. Nutmeg have been seriously affected as a result of burial. Not so much cocoa, more nutmeg. So the Nutmeg Association must give husbandry direction to farmers. It's not a question of if we planting back. We have to plant back. To tell them how to plant back, what distance, what height, where you getting the plants. Avoid planting seed. Because when you plant seed, you don't know whether you're getting female or male. Maybe government have to mark out nutmeg. They have not said anything. The government have given some money, $4,500 for people 5 acres of land and less. $9,000 for people over 5 acres of land. The government said this is an income support. They stress that point repeatedly. This is a little thing for you. See what you could do with it. And the government concentrated principally on the smaller farmers. That is why they say over $5,000, $9,000. It is income support. The government must tell us what program you have to motivate, to encourage, to provide incentive for the land. It is critical. Because at this stage, there is no marketing board. As we know it. We have not heard any statement from the commodity boards. Zip. We have not heard nothing from the chief technical officer in agriculture. Zip. We have not heard anything about the livestock industry. Zip. And the government of Grenada must remember that they are the biggest farmer. I think sometimes we forget. Government is the owner of Bellevue Estate. Bellevue had a reputation once for having the most nutmeg. And on one occasion, that was the estate that had run most profitably. Then we have Granba Estate. If it is one thing, Granba is not lacking is water. Then we have Mount Rule Estate in the higher belt. And then you have Laura Land and others. So government of Grenada is the biggest farmer. And the Minister of Agriculture is in the fridge. He has frozen. So you're not hearing anything. The government come up with a simple issue. 5 acres of land, 4,500. Above 5 acres, 9,000. The government said, give the information to the Ministry of Agriculture, your NIS card, your farmer's registration card, your bank account number. The first thing they say, they're going to send you money to the bank. Then we hear ministers was going out to give a check. It seems as though in some areas they make sure they select some people to get checked so they could pose with them. So I don't know. Maybe you have to wait till January to see what the government do. They have squandered the rainy season, so we wait for January to make up their mind. And that is what is sad and unfortunate. Sometimes we have to take the bull by the horn and make decisions, and we have to be realistic and practical. You, the farmers who have the land, I encourage you to listen to my program on Studio Galaxy on Saturdays. And I have a program specifically on agriculture. But we have to look at ourselves and remember there is no Godfather coming. The British or the French or the Chinese or the Russians is not coming to help us. And if you see them here, they're seeking their own interests. We have to determine what is good for us. I encourage you to sit down and hold discussion with your children in your homes, with your family, on any issues, whether it is economics, whether it's discipline, your children in school, husband and wife sit down, a man and woman, spouse sit down, discuss your children in school. Find out from your children what subject they're doing, what is the most weighted subject. What is the most, you might not use the word weighted, but you may say, what is the most important subject you think? And then ask them what subject they're doing. We have to do more. Otherwise, a lot of our children are heading for the unemployment field, for the prison, to come afoul of the law, or they have to run away from the country. And there come the end of our program. We want to thank all those who participated in our program. And once again, we apologize for our absence for the day. We're back with you on Monday for another program of On Target. Thank you.